In this clip, we're going to learn about layers and channels. Okay, so channels are the building blocks of layers. Think of a layer as something made up of several channels. To show you this, I've made a little illustration. So I've got a red channel, a green channel, a blue channel, and an alpha channel, all living in this one layer. And that layer would be RGBA. And you may remember back when we were looking at Nuke and looking through all the different ways we could view things, oftentimes we would choose the RGBA layer to view. Now, this has 4 channels, red, green, blue, and alpha. I've also got another illustration here to kind of drive home the point that these are 25 layers. 1 layer, 25 layers, and each of those contain 4 channels. Now, Nuke doesn't only allow you to have 4 channels in a layer, it will actually let you have up to 8. So you may have several different channels going on all within one layer. And sometimes also layers may be called channel sets. So if you ever hear that, they're just saying layer. Now let's go ahead and jump into Nuke and see how this actually works. Okay, so to really be able to create a new layer, I'm going to have to show you a node that we'll be talking about more in the next lesson. And it's a pretty simple node. It's called the shuffle node. So I'll hit tab and type in shuffle. And I'm just going to pull this shuffle off of my robot.exr node here, my little read node. And we'll view that shuffle. Now, currently, it's got its default settings where it's just got the RGBA data flowing into it. It's really no different than if we were viewing the read node directly. But if I drop this down right here, I can choose any of those layers, or in this case, we kind of have a little bit of a crossover between the term layer and channel. Because when we're talking about an EXR, we mean like a multi-channel EXR a lot of times. And so that means there's a channel that contains the direct diffuse. There's a channel that contains the direct specular. So the channels in terms of the file are going to kind of be talking about a few things. Now, I'm going to go ahead and choose this direct diffuse to kind of show you. Obviously, there isn't just one channel of data here because it has the RGB data. So it's got the RG and B data that make up that diffuse. And if I come over here, you can see those. So you can see it's the direct diffuse layer. So Nuke is looking at that as a layer. And it's the red channel, the direct diffuse layer, the green channel, blue, and then so on and so forth for the rest of these little guys here. Now, I want to show you how I can actually make a totally new layer out of a channel. So just to make it really simple, let's do it with our alpha. So of course I can just look at my regular alpha here, but I actually want to create a new alpha that's for the robot because later on I might have some other alphas and I want to have one that's specifically named for the robot. So what I would do in that case to create a new layer containing the alpha channel, I would go to new and I would name it robot underscore alpha, and then I can auto populate it and click this button and it would put RGBA all in here, but I really only want the alpha. So just to show you that that button is there for your convenience, but I just want this one. Now I don't want the RGBA dot alpha. I just want it to be alpha. So I'll just type in alpha and then I'll hit OK. Now, if I come over here, I've got my robot underscore alpha layer that I can view. And I can also choose it over here as well. If I go to other layers, robot alpha. There it is. So that's how you would create another layer that has a channel within it. So again, remember, channels are kind of the smaller pieces of data that make up the bigger layer. And those are going to come into play a little bit more later on as we continue working through this module. In our next clip, we're going to learn about the shuffle node, which we already got into just a little bit here, the copy node, and the shuffle copy node.